Morning, everyone. Rates. The obvious topic we're going to have a chat about this morning. I'm going to bring Michael Burgio into the conversation now as well. We're going to have a chin wag with him. But can you believe it? Rates came down. And I think against what a lot of people thought, Yeah, I was dumbfounded. I thought they were going to wait till November and deliver us a little Christmas present. But certainly not. They've delivered Christmas.
Good morning, Mr. Novak. How are you?
Hey, Christmas has been delivered early with interest rates.
Yeah, well, half delivered.
Well, that's it. If the bank,
We were discussing about it just before.
yeah, nothing like a good rate.
You go.
So it's gonna be it's gonna be interesting, huh? What do you reckon? The bank's gonna pass it on?
Well, I think they've passed on a quarter of it, or NAB, I think have done the most, passing on 1.3, what was it? Of the 0.25%, they passed on 1.3, 1.8%. It'll be interesting to see if they continue to do so throughout the month. I'll be interested we were just having a little conversation about it before, where I was under the impression the most of the cut is done the day after, if it is done at all. And then you were saying, I think they sort of trickle it through. So if anyone's got any knowledge of past months from when the rates have gone down, if that's the case, that would be really good to hear from. But I suppose the drop's a drop, but it's not the full drop the RBA wanted the Big Four to do. However, there are some banks out there that have passed it on. There was a bank, I don't remember the name, so it narrows it down, but they're doing 2.84% variable interest, which is fucking cheap.
That's unbelievable.
Very, very cheap.
And tell me,
on variable loan.
So people when Northern Beach is centric, how is that going to affect people, buyers? How's it going to affect sellers? How's it going to affect tenants? What's your thoughts?
I just think we'll have movement. Well, it's just like if you're thinking of water going through a funnel. I think the last sort of year and a bit, it sort of got very stopped and claggy with the sentiment of the market being quite poor. I'm not talking about prices, I'm just talking about the sentiment. Transactions were a lot longer, things didn't sell. I think now with this good sentiment, the encouragement of cheap money, we're just going to see a flow of properties come on but sell, but stock levels stay really low. So not a flow come on, but just a flow of transactions happening.
Steady rate.
Steady rate. I think your buyers who are buying, it's probably more long-term buyers now. I don't see much capital growth in the next sort of couple years. And I don't really see people selling because they've had huge capital growth. So people who will be buying and selling now, they're coming from the upsizing, downsizing, family dynamics changing, moving into the area, moving out of the area. And with a good sentiment and cheap money, the transactions will happen at probably a consistent price level. I know they're going through a transitional market. It's always very difficult for sellers and buyers to gauge if they're buying well, underbuying, overpaying, and that just delays the process of the transaction. So where I see probably steady price median across the board, but just transactions happening. But I don't really see stock levels increasing because Northern Beaches, I don't think help me here, traditionally we haven't really been an area that sort of goes up in market, then everyone sells, like a spec sort of selling community. A lot of people are buying and holding for long periods of time. You don't really see the sort of everyone, it's good, let's all sell, and then you get flooded with properties on the market. A lot of the ethos is buy and hold, I find.
I think...
What's your thoughts?
The market really turned to being very transient for a good long period. And I think the market, and what I mean by that is the average length of holding a property was shortened. Because people were making such fantastic money out of property, people traditionally just sold their property and bought and upgraded, downgraded, went sideways because they'd made a shitload of money. Whereas I think in these days, in a consolidated market, when people haven't made as much capital growth, I think the tenure, the length people have actually stayed in their property has actually grown. So I think that
Yep.
that tenure is actually where it was probably more around 7.5 years. People, that was the average ages ago. I reckon it went to closer to 5 years, and I reckon now it's blowing out to probably 10 years, the average tenure for holding a property. But I'll tell you the amazing thing, and people forget this about interest rates. People look at the small picture, what just happened yesterday and what just happened the month before, but people forget about the long picture. And the long picture is 10 to 15 years ago, the major cost out of your pocket was the roof over your head. It was either rent or it was a mortgage. Now we're discussing today mortgages. How's this for a kicker? Interest rates now are 70% lower. Your repayments are 70% lower than what they were 10 or 15 years ago. The major cost in your household is 10 or 15% lower than what it was 10 or 15 years ago. That's fucking huge. It's gone from likes of 3%
Yes.
from about 10 or 9 or 10%. That is huge in anyone's world.
100%. And also, you don't always need to look at the capital for where you're, well, obviously there's the capital growth, but if it's almost, if you're not, it's proportionate. If outgoings go down, then the net figure is probably still the same. So your property prices may not go up 10%, but if your outgoings have gone down 10%, there's still that money there as well. Just like with the rent levels consolidating, I think we just did the figures just earlier. Like at 3%, most probably our debt level for a purchase in DY, a 2-bedder, 700,000 loan amount. It's only costing you 20 grand a year to hold it. Now most 2-bedders,
That's nuts. That's crazy shit.
that's cheap. That's cheap, like 19,800, and most 2-bedders would be yielding gross amount 28,000 a year. So it's going to have all encouragement for people to still buy property, hold property, and especially while things are low. But it also gives a bit of a buffer as well, that if rates do go up, your rent should still be able to cover it in our backyard of DY, where we're talking about.
So
I know other areas would be different.
in one way, I'm excited because there's more money to spend. In one way, I'm excited because from 10 or 15 years ago, you're paying 70% less for a roof over your head if you're a property owner. 70%. What are you going to spend the other money on? You're either going to pay your mortgage down faster, or you're going to live better. But either way, that's a good bloody story. Now, it also, and being you get a bit pessimistic and you go, shit, is that really bad? Because it's never been like that before. Then people start looking at employment. Then people go, hang on a sec, it's okay because worldwide rates are low.
That's true. There's a lot of countries in zero, negative, but so. Anything else you wanted to add on, Mark? I think I'm back in town tomorrow, so we'll have our great new Zoom technology. Luke said relax, so just spend a couple of days with family down in Melbourne, Yarraville. So loving the 4 seasons in a day.
Loving it. Your mum's watching, so just no swearing, yeah?
Yeah. Hey, Mark.
Yeah, be very...
Back tomorrow, make sure you're there to pick me up from the airport.
So, I think it's a massive topic. I think coming off 70% rate reductions. Everyone looks at the news short term. Hey, rates just came down.
Yep.
Hey, rates just came down 0.25%. Hey, 0.25%. Hey, what are the banks going to do with it? But everyone's forgetting that rates are 70% lower than what they were 10 or 15 years ago. Think about that,
Correct.
guys.
And as a yes, that's correct. Yep. And I was saying, the percentage, when you convert it to a percentage, they're still pretty big drops compared to, say, a 0.25 decimal point drop compared to when the rates were 5%. Now having a 0.25% drop, it's a big drop.
5%.
So, Alrighty, guys, we'll see you tomorrow.
Take it easy, man.
Oh, cheers. Bye.